Into the fishing topic. We're gonna talk about the smallmouth. Now, I don't know. This is gonna be one of those episodes where, I get into like we're talking about the smallmouth bass. The scientific name is Micropreterus dolomitis. Dolomite.
Dolomitis.
The Micropetus dolomite. That's not what it is.
Nope.
Micropertus dolomeu. Meui? What the fuck? It's gonna be one of those episodes, guys.
Micropertus dolomeo.
Dolomeo.
I bet it said like one meow.
Yep, meow.
Too many vowels at the end. I bet it's
so
one
many
noise.
Fucking vowels at the end.
It sounds like you're fucking casting a spell.
Oh yeah, we've talked
Dolomeo.
Yes, we've talked about that before. How we need to have like the wizard DNR office or something, like officer in the boat, or he's like floating in the boat. It's like just a cloud.
Yeah,
and he's just casting spells. It's just scientific. I know we did something like that.
I think we did. Yeah.
Smallmouth. Give me some nicknames, Tim. What do you got?
The bronze back.
Yeah.
Big ones are called footballs.
And for that random person that clicks on this from outside of the United States, we're talking about American footballs. They are.
Oh yeah, they don't look like white and black polka dotted. They are the shape of a football. What are they? They're like a pointed oval, whatever you want to call that. Like
yeah, yep,
an oval with points,
and not
on
too
each
far
side.
off the color, really. I mean,
yeah,
a football is a deeper brown, but like they're pretty brown.
Yep, they're they're relatively brown. That's why they call them the bronze backs.
Yep. Smallies.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other ones. My brain is not braining right now.
I only got those three, but I know
I have more. Yeah, there's
definitely more.
I know there are, and I just can't. Smallies, bronze backs,
footballs.
The footballs. That's all I got right now.
Leave your favorite nickname for a smallmouth bass in the comments.
Yep, let us know what you got going on.
Yeah. So, like most fish, and this is, but not as much. But as we do these fish specific podcasts, these species specific ones, I learned more and more that like fish just look different depending on where they live. But the smallmouth to me seems to have just like a really drastic range. Like I don't see pictures when we do the largemouth one. It doesn't look as different. It just looks different shape, right? Like down south, they're just fucking tanks.
Yeah.
You come up here, but generally speaking, they're kind of the same color. Am I just seeing a flood of, photogenic largemouth, or am I seeing a bigger variety of smallmouth bass in comparison to largemouth, or largemouth just don't change as much as smallmouth? Because smallmouth, I feel like there's a pretty big gamut.
I don't know about that. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of different smallmouths. I know that there's like different shades. I feel like I see the same. Maybe it just like stands out more, but I feel like I see the same with largemouths. Like you got largemouths that are in like dingier water. Mm-hmm. It seems like where their colors are a little bit clearer, and then or like lighter, I should say. And then you got like clear water where sometimes the fish can have like really dark colors, and then when they're in captivity, I feel like they almost change colors to be like watermelon color, which I don't understand ever really, but I've had some big ones where I've caught them before and I didn't let them go right away because I wanted to show somebody, so I put them in the live well just to really bring them back to the cabin and be like, look how big this fucking bass is. And when I open it up, it's not like the back. I don't know if the stress can actually like help change the color, but the back went from being like one solid dark green to now kind of like a spotty dark,
Really?
like, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's weird.
Wow.
And I only really see the fish change like that when they're in captivity.
Sure.
I
Okay.
I keep bass far less than I used to. But like when
Sure.
I was younger, there was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times where I didn't know what I was really doing and wanted to eat fish, and I just keep some smaller bass. So I knew a lot of like seeing the different colors changing and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
because bass are so straightforward, like the largemouth on the Bill Dance card, he's got a pretty good one there. Bill Dance rookie
Yeah,
card,
dude.
you got that black stripe down the middle,
Right.
and then it's like dark on the top and lighter on the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's really like that doesn't change at all. But the smallmouth are like barred. Like
Yeah.
the lines are a lot different
Yeah.
when
They're
you're
just
looking
like
at them.
tiger striped almost
Yeah. So some
in
of
a way.
those can be like the bars can be a little bit lighter than others. I've seen
Yeah.
ones where the bars are almost like non-existent. Like
Right.
they might be there, but they're really solid color. Like it's just a real pretty solid colored fish.
The whole fish, except for the very belly of it, is still
Yeah.
that white fish white
Yep.
that you see all over the place, everywhere, basically.
Yeah. On
But
all
yeah, the
fish.
whole fish is like a football color. It's not, but yeah, it takes on that
Yeah.
super dark color. That's what you're talking
Yep.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very like uniform. So there, I guess,
Yeah.
there are a lot. Like, I think it's just that because theirs is less of a pronounced, like one black line, it
Yeah.
can really play different parts because you got like the backing
Sure.
and then the bars. And
Right.
sometimes they're like identical backing and bars. So they're just that one uniform color.
Yeah.
Sometimes the backing's a little bit brighter than the bars almost.
Uh-huh.
So that looks a little bit wild.
Yeah, they
That
have like
one,
this tiger stripes on them, man. When I see
yeah.
those every time, I'm just like, man, what a fucking pretty fish. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And then there's other times where like they'll have like dark barring, but like the back is never really light. The background's never really light.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
pretty brown or like
Yep.
a shade of brown or whatever.
Yeah. Like sometimes
But
a golden color where like
yeah,
I saw some that were they had that really dark actual like back and then it kind
yeah.
of faded into a darker gold brown
Oh,
color
sure.
as it goes down. But it's
Yeah.
not like that it's not like that hard line on a largemouth.
Right, yeah. Because that largemouth, I mean, that line is black
Right.
and it's on every single one.
Yep.
Regardless of what the back looks like or the stomach looks like, it has that black line.
Right.
Well, for the most part. I
Yeah.
have seen ones where they don't. And those look a little bit weird, but those two are like, it's still there. It's just way lighter for whatever reason.
Yeah. And those are usually really, really dark ones anyway in the first
Yeah.
place. Right. Like
Yeah,
they're
so it's just like what they're normally really big and then they're
Mhm.
like all uniform color, and that's where you get, the black bass from.
Did you know that's
'Cause
what smallmouth were called?
black bass?
Yeah. I found that. They're like I found it in one of the research that I did. They were both. They were both, by the way. You're not wrong with the largemouth thing. Both of them
Yeah.
were called. But it
What
did
is it?
say there was this old article. I'm trying to see, did I write it down? Because it was from way back in the day.
That's
They said
still
more
wild.
commonly known as the black bass, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about there, dude. I've never seen the smallmouth. I've never seen a black smallmouth, but like I've seen, like dark backed bass. There's a video game called Black Bass.
Yeah. Yep. And
Yeah.
it was largemouth. It was about largemouth.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, I saw it out when I was doing research on smallmouth. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I was like,
Yeah.
you ever heard that before? I had
Right.
never heard that before.
It's funny too how like you go fishing for smallmouth is so much different than when you go for largemouth a lot of times,
Yeah.
where it's almost like you're kind of fishing for walleye in a sense, because I
Really?
literally just heard Seth Feider talking about how, I forget which lake they were on, but he had a good bag and caught 2 tanks, like some big, like 4 or 5 pound fish wherever he's
Okay.
at. I can't
Yeah.
remember, but they were largemouths, and he was trying for smallmouths to start, and he said they were giving me trouble, And he's like, so I just went bass fishing.
Okay.
Like he said it like that. Like he's talking about he's not catching smallmouth. And then he's like, so I just decided to go bass fishing. Like,
right.
because
Even though they're both bass, when he said, I just decided to go bass fishing, it was like assumed, implied, whatever you want to say, that he was going largemouth bass fishing.
I mean, like, think about this. You ever seen anybody catch a smallmouth on a frog? Because I don't. I mean, like, it happens in rivers and stuff, you know? But, like,
sure.
I don't think I've ever seen a smallmouth hit a frog in, like, a pad of lily pads.
Sure.
So it's like that's what he basically did was he went frogging and he was like pitching and flipping and stuff like that. So he's like flipping jigs underneath docks or whatever. I don't know exactly what he did, but that's what he said in the interview afterwards, you know. How did this happen? I was trying for smallmouth. It didn't go well. So I went bass fishing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's so funny to hear the huge the huge differences in that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. So let's just talk about the way the fish looks for a second. We're going to get back to fishing for them, of course.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about this description that I found about why it's a smallmouth.
Yeah.
The upper jaw only extends to the middle of their eye. It's like, you know, their jaw only goes to the middle of their eye. They're not completely able to unhinge their jaw, and their eye doesn't live in their mouth.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought it was funny.
I knew that shit from long time ago because I always read the books and stuff when I was a kid. I was always reading the different books about the different specifications. So I know very well like the differences between like pike and northern and the bass. That's why I always think it's funny when I hear people like trying to debate shit online. And I just come in and I just be like, listen, I can't prove that I'm an expert, but that's this fish.
Right.
Stop arguing.
Been studying this for
it's not hard for me.
Right.
There should be no debate here. It is this fish.
Right. Right. And you know, I mean, it's not like we've ever talked about this before, like I said it before, but like that's part of why I wanted to do this podcast. I mean, other than the fact we get to hang out, it's awesome. But like, I always felt like I don't know much about fishing, and I always felt you've proven time and time again that you do know a lot about fishing. And it was like, how can I help prove that Tim is as good as he is? Like, you know, that's always sort of been something in the back of my head of like, how do I like really prove it? And it's just like, well, here's how. I do the research. I go, you know, I scour the internet to try to come up with ideas and data, or, you know, from reputable sources, and we'll just talk about it.
Yeah. And then I come in with I just come in and turn on the computer.
Yeah. You're the color commentary guy or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but you know what you're talking about. And I just know that. So I just like, you just sit down and go, what are we talking about? Smallmouth. All right. Let's do it.
Yep.
So I just thought the jaw measurement was really funny because like, you know, they're comparing it to the largemouth, which we've been doing here too, and just going like, well, their jaw only goes to the middle of their eye.
I know.
Jeez.
I know. But like when you see it in the picture, it is kind of crazy. So like that explained, if anybody's wondering like what that even means, is like when you look at a profile picture, their eyes are still above their mouth. So it's, you know, like you just like look straight down. But if you line up, because their eyes are like slightly on the sides of their head, you can look at a profile picture and like the middle of their eye goes straight down to where their mouth closes. They got that little like flange that goes back because, you know, their mouth opens up weird. It's, if you haven't caught fish, go catch fish and then take a look, because they have like these, it's like this, like almost like a piece of cartilage that is able to like kind of extend, and it goes when it opens up, you'll see what I'm talking about if you catch one or you go look at a picture, but it's a flange that when their mouth is closed, it's all the way back that lines up with their eye. And a largemouth, that same piece actually goes quite a bit behind the eye because their mouths are so much bigger.
Right.
And I mean, like, I know like catching a 5-pounder is not normal, but if you catch a 5-pound largemouth, you could easily fit your whole fist in a largemouth's mouth.
It's so wild to hear that.
Yeah.
I know you've said it more than once on the podcast, but you just don't get used to something like that, when you've only heard it 30 times or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm a pretty big dude.
Right.
I could fit my fist in a 5-pounder's mouth. Like, I got a decent sized fist.
Yeah.
And a smallmouth, not a chance, dude. They're so much smaller overall.
So small.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say so small, but like, they're,
I guess in comparison, it just, because I remember the first time I reached into a smallmouth, like I had the bass and I just was like, do I lip this thing? I don't.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with it? Like, I didn't know, but with a largemouth, there's no questioning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A 2-pound largemouth, you don't question it. You just reach in, you lip it, and you pull the lure out. Like there's just there's no doubt. But I remember first time I had to pull a nice size smallmouth out of the water. Yeah. I was like, I did one of those delays where kind of like, I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Yeah. Right. And it's, I mean, like, I know this is like, I'm not saying that a smallmouth wouldn't be able to eat a frog, because it could, but like a lot of times when you go frog fishing, you catch big fish, but it's not impossible to catch a smaller bass on a frog, because like you said, a 2-pounder has a big enough mouth to eat quite a bit of shit. Like it can, like you can throw a relatively large lure and you could catch a smaller bass because it has the confidence that it's going to be able to eat something big enough. It's like what do they call those games? It's like a whole IO type thing where it just knows, if I eat something bigger, I'm going to get bigger, bro. So I'm going to eat. Yeah. I'm going to eat that big thing.
Like a Katamari Damashi shit.
Yeah. Katamari Damashi. Oh, dude. That one, that game brings back bad memories.
Oh, no. Okay, we won't go into that.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'll just tell everybody real quick since I brought that up. There was one night where I was intoxicated and all I wanted to do was go to sleep, and somebody else was playing Katamari Damashi loudly in the next room. I was just like, I didn't get up. I didn't go tell anybody to shut up, but I'm just like, I just want to sleep. And it wasn't booze. I was having a hard time going to sleep. If it was alcohol, I probably would have passed out, no problem. But yeah.
Right.
I was intoxicated and just wanted to sleep off how I was feeling.
Yep.
And I could not.
And you couldn't because it
Katamari Damashi's insane noises over and over. Plus people talking about it. Roll over that thing. Roll over that thing. Roll over that thing.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. So before we get more into the fishing, I want to do a little bit more physical stuff, because this is something that I always have a hard time figuring out with fish. Like, how the fuck does this happen? Sometimes they have red eyes, sometimes they have black eyes. I've never seen another fish like the smallmouth that, like, it seems to have both, just depending on where it is. I mean, what do you see when you're catching them? It's weird.
I see mostly red eyes.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess they say black.
Yeah. Well, I should say I saw photos. So maybe I saw the photos wrong.
Maybe it's like a dark brown or something that it could be sometimes or whatever.
Like the
but
red just got so dark. Okay.
Yeah. It's red a lot though. I don't remember catching a lot that doesn't, but I guess I don't like stare at their eyes a lot. But a lot of times
Sure.
when I catch them, I mean, maybe there are some ones that have darker eyes and they just don't stand out to me when I catch them. But most of the time when I catch them, I look and I'm just like, damn, dude, your eyes are all red. That's like, just, they're cool looking fish, man.
They are.
And a lot of times I'll catch them on the Mississippi, and sometimes they'll be smaller,
Okay.
but they're just perfect. Like they're flawless. They're like how you were saying, just a pretty fish. Like you catch them and you're like holding them up, like you got these red eyes on this backdrop of like this olive skin. Like some of them are just that like one color the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
I just talked to him for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, God damn, dude, look at you. You just a good looking fish, huh?
That's a good looking fish. Okay. Well, good. I mean, that just makes me, if I ever catch one ever again, I'm on that note right now. That I just, I'll pay attention, because I swear I've seen just like black, like the black eyes, like a largemouth, but maybe I've caught so few that I just don't have that,
sure.
That like good solid memory. But I was looking at photos as I usually do, and there were a lot, but I also forget that like angle, I'm right now, this is me real time analyzing my picture looking at on the internet, is the angle causes quite a bit, like what if it was a deep water fish and it came up quick and its eyes didn't adjust or something, I don't know. But then but still, nonetheless, the angle does matter when it comes to getting that red in there. It can it can make a difference in the camera. So
well, if you want to catch a fish, or anybody listening, I'm not even joking, hit us up and tell me, like, I want to catch one. Just come to St. Cloud. I'll show you.
Yeah.
It's not hard. I know a spot. It's not hard to do at all. As long as you know how to cast out and reel in. I catch you. We'll catch a smallmouth. I promise.
On that note, then, because I had that down for the end of like, all right, we're going to go into it, but fuck that. You just brought it up.
Yeah.
Go over that like best night ever on the river, because we've talked about it a little bit, but like this was a smallmouth night, right?
Yeah, smallmouth afternoon.
Smallmouth afternoon. Okay, yeah, dude, get into it. I want to listen. Yeah. I'm here for a story.
So it was like a smallmouth afternoon, and I can't remember like what day it was. I want to say it was back when I was doing the car sales, and then I had just like a random Tuesday off.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just by myself. I'm going to go out here. There was like no pressure from anybody else, so I don't have to worry about anybody else competing with me. I mean, there probably was somebody, but they're the weird people that come there with like a big giant fishing rod set up, and they cast like a bobber and just sit there and like watch it float down the river for a while until they like reel it up and cast it again.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on those people, but like
no, but they're being so casual. Like they're literally out there to just hang out by the water, and
they're also
maybe
like
something will bite.
Yeah, they're also weird people. I'm not, like they're not, I'm not talking, this is just like, I'm not saying you're weird because you're doing that stuff. I'm saying you're weird because you're fucking weird.
Because like you don't, if you've seen these people, you would, right? That's the kind of, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. When
like, if you've seen these people,
when you shore fish, you run into some straight up like, they're somewhere between homeless and Walmartian, and they're just out there. You're like, whoa, dude. There's like, it's 95 degrees and humid. I can't believe you're out here in pajama pants
and a coat and 2 coats. You have 2 coats.
Wild. On. Yeah, 2 coats. And the stuff you bring for fishing gear, and you try to tell everybody that passes by how it's just all they need is bread. You just got to put bread on it. Just like, you do you, and I'll do me. How about that? That kind of stuff. Anyways, so I'm out there, and it's, the moon phase is like that's supposed to be peak fishing time. Like that's why I was like, I had some stuff to do or whatever, and I was like, but I got to get out here for this time. And when I went out there, it was like first cast, got a fish. Hell yeah. First cast. Nice. That happens a lot.
And you're in mid-afternoon? This is like 1:30 or something.
Yeah, it's like 1:30 mid-afternoon. It's nothing crazy. I know how to fish this spot in the river. So
sure.
Just like when you're fishing a lot of times with the river, you can catch them if you don't go with the current. That's not impossible. But when you're making your lure come back with the current, that's the natural way a bait fish would be fleeing, or whatever it thinks you have would be fleeing.
Okay.
And I have far more success when I'm reeling the lure with the current than going against the current. Like I'll fan cast.
Or sideways through the current, I guess. Even, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, it works. It all, like, none of it doesn't work 100% of the time. But there's things that you can do that make it work better most of the time. So I'll fan cast from shore. I go to shore and I'll like make a cast, right, left, or like right, and
center,
then just kind of like work my way left.
Okay.
But when I'm doing it on the river, I won't make that right cast most of the time. Like I'll like, because the current is coming from the left and going to my right. So I'll make like a straight out cast will be the last cast I make.
Okay.
I always try to I like to go like extreme left. I try to cast close to shore as far down as I can go. So I'll take a really long cast and I'll walk upstream with the current. So I'm not like walking past the fish, because some of these fish are really close to the riprap, which is just, rocks on the shoreline.
Right.
And they'll be really like, it drops off pretty fast. So they won't be that far away. So they can see you really well. So I'll go to the far right where the current is going towards, and I'll make a cast as far as I can to the left and pull it back. And that day I didn't have to fan cast. I would just cast and it'd be a fish on. And well, I did fan cast, I should say, but I barely, like, I didn't make the like straight out casts because I was hitting them all like near the rocks too. So they were all up near the rocks.
Just like
they were all willing to eat. And it was just like one cast, boom, fish. Next cast, boom, fish. Next cast, boom, fish. And I'm like, oh shit, there's like 3 casts in a row. I literally only move my spot. Normally I'll make a couple of casts, and if I don't catch a fish, then I'll move further. This one, I only moved up when the fish got smaller.
Oh my God.
Because I caught fish it was like, bam, decent fish, nice. Bam, big fish, like, hell yeah, that's a good one.
Nice.
And then like other fish, and it was like eventually the fish got to where the bigger fish had ate my lure, and they're not going to bite again.
Right.
So then they like a small one, and
so now the little one had a chance, and
yeah.
And
it was, I walked that whore. Did I just say whore? I walked that whore shoreline. Speaking of whore shorelines, I did find that packaging that one time along that river for like a butt plug or something. You find some wild stuff. I'm telling you, there's more reason I was talking about those people being weird than just finding butt plug packaging along the river, because that's what you do. I got a little bit of free time. I'm going to cast out a line and slip in a butt plug.
As one does on a Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. What are you doing this Tuesday? What do you mean, what am I doing this Tuesday? Putting in a butt plug and throwing out a line.
So we could do every Tuesday.
This guy over here. What are you going to do this Tuesday? You know what I'm doing full well, idiot. But no, so I casted, and I don't know how many casts it was. I stopped counting, but it was like every cast for like 20 some casts straight.
Oh my God,
I got dude. Fish. Just bam, bam, bam. Yeah. After a while, like I was in disbelief at like 10 or 12.
Right.
And it was just like every time it just became no way, no way, no,
No way.
yeah.
For like 20 casts.
Yeah, and
that's
so
crazy.
This was Mepps Aglia, and so that's a inline spinner.
Yep.
And that blade is orange because smallmouth like they seem to like orange and pink, like those two colors. I don't know why, but that's their colors. And so it had an orange blade on it, and then it had a natural colored skirt, which was actual like buck hair like coloring, where it's kind of like brown and white, and it has one red feather on the hook. And I want to say it was like a number 3 blade. I think it was a number 3 blade. Could have been a number 4. I forget. But the sizes on those get bigger as the number goes down.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like number 1 is a relatively big blade.
Yeah.
So I think. Pretty sure that's how that works. I'm looking around. I don't have one.
That's fucking crazy.
But yeah, every cast for that many casts straight.
That's
and that
awesome.
Mepps Aglia, you just cast it out and you reel it in. That's all you got to do. It has that blade goes. It has a vibration, and they just come up and they hit it. That's all you got to do is just cast it out and reel it in.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I have a weird. This is actually how I was going to start the podcast. The cast it out, reel it in. So I was doing that in my dream last night, and I know dream. Okay, dream story, boring. No. So last night I was dreaming of fishing like the whole time.
Yeah.
And I started to sort of come out of my dream, like wake up. It kind of like I was going to turn over to my other side, or or something. And I was like, it was a sweet dream. 5 out of 5 dream. And I gave myself 5 stars and a thumbs up before I woke up. Like I literally reviewed my dream, dude. What the fuck kind of manipulation is going on behind the internet?
That's so awesome. 5 out of 5 stars.
Fucked up, right?
That's wild. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, it was so weird. I was just like, oh my God, I just did that. Like, because I woke up afterwards and like went over to my other side and fully recognized what I did.
That's awesome.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, I should say too, real quick, for anybody else that if you don't fish a lot, I know that's an easy way, but it's so effective. And I don't know if a lot of people don't do it anymore, but go and try that Mepps Aglia. You can try different sizes. You can try different, colors and whatnot. A lot of them will work. And another one is like if you have like a curly tail grub where it's just like this is like a little spinnerbait, but don't worry about that spinner. Just see how this is like a jig head with this little curly tail.
Oh, yeah.
Guy. Yeah.
That jig has the curly tail like built into it.
Yeah. So when you cast it,
you didn't put that on there. It makes that.
Right. Yep. So when you cast it out and you reel it in, it gives that little vibration, like because the tail curls and stuff.
Yeah.
You could use whatever color you want, but white on white jig head, white curly tail grub, cast it out, reel it in straight. I mean, I'm giving you these 2 tips because there are a million different ways to fish for smallmouth.
Right.
You can have crazy success. The rocks can be a problem. The river with sticks and stuff can be a problem.
Right.
Both those 2, when you cast them out and reel them in, they stay relatively high in the water column and they don't go down far enough to hook stuff. And the fish will come up to eat them a lot. Like depending on where you're at in the river and stuff. Most rivers aren't crazy deep when you're talking about like fishing something that has good current. Obviously there's exceptions to the rules, but like they're close to the shoreline feeding on stuff when they're hungry. So you don't have to cast or you don't have to get that deep because they're probably there waiting for something to fall off of the rocks or waiting for something to fall out of the tree.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Or just
but
come
yeah,
screaming just come screaming down the current really quick, and they're like, hey, there goes something, better go catch it. Like,
right. Yeah. They're just waiting for an opportunity. If they're out there and they want to eat, they just, sometimes they just got to do what they got to do. They might prefer to eat, a crayfish that you're bouncing on the bottom. But if they're hungry and you burn something by on the top of the water, if they want to eat it, they'll come up and eat it.
Sure. Yeah. And like you said, that keeps you up out of the rocks and the twigs and shit that get built up in rivers.
Yep. And they're both super simple ways. You just cast them out and reel in.
Yeah. That's that's awesome.
Yeah.
But so you're saying a lot. So I'm going to go like everything you're saying. You read about the habitat and it's like they prefer clear water. The rocky areas of the water, rivers, like the pools and rivers, streams, reservoirs of streams, that colder water.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go to episode 86, I'll just say that really quick. If you go to episode 86, we talked about how smallmouth are invasive. The invasive smallmouth is what it was called.
Yeah.
If you go over there, that's where you'll hear about some cold water and reservoirs and stuff like that. But you're talking about river and the rocks and the rocky areas, and it said they like to hang out in the river pools. And so they're not like out there in the current. They're trying to get closer to the rocks where it's a little bit more broken up, and right?
No,
or are you current. Just like seeing them in the current?
Yeah. No, they're in the current. They'll sit where like the current breaks are, but they're in the current too. They're swimming a lot of times, keeping moving. They'll stay in one spot, just kind of like swimming with it. But like if you can visibly find where the rocks and stuff are, here's another tip. If you're in a spot where there's a river and you see that there's a current break, like you can see that the like water's going around a rock or something.
Okay.
You might get hung up because I don't know what all the rock situations are. So know that going in. Don't cast your best lure out there thinking you're going to catch it. Try to cast something cheap. That's where the whitetail grubs really come in handy. You can go get a pack of like Mr. Twisters that are already like pre-rigged. You can get like a 4-pack, or like Johnson, I think, makes them too. Like there's a couple of different companies that'll make pre-rigged jig head with the white curly tail grub ready to roll, and you can get like a 4-pack for like $3.60 or something, $4.
Oh shit, nice.
So you can afford to like break them off and just keep going. It's not that big of a deal. So those are nice. If you are on a river where there's a healthy population and you find one of those rocks where it's not like raging rapids, if it's really insane, I don't know if you're gonna have much fish sitting right where it's like raging rapids. But if it's like just a steady current and it's like going around that rock, there's a smallmouth behind that rock.
Yeah. Just hanging out
on the Mississippi where I go. I will not, most of the time on certain spots, like where that riprap is, there's chances of them being all the way along that riprap because they can be feeding on the stuff that lives in those rocks. There's crayfish in those rocks. There's bugs that fall off of that. There's like spiders that live in the rocks that sometimes go to try to grab, whatever they trying to grab. All sorts of different bugs and stuff. There's the different like dragonflies and all that kind of shit like hatch from those kind of areas and stuff. So like it's just an abundance of food. There's always something along those rocks.
Right.
But further down, those smallmouth are like taking a break in that current break behind those rocks. And they'll just wait for shit to come past that rock, and then they'll chase out and grab it and go back underneath. So they're just chilling there, and they're opportunistic feeders. So they might be just taking a break, just being like, I don't want to move. And it just takes, they go, well, food. And then they go and eat it, So I have some on like the GoPro. I have footage of going out there and talking, like just being like, here's where there's a fish. I go right
Mm-hmm.
there, point at it. I say, there's a fish there. And I cast and I catch a fish.
Mm-hmm.
I say, hey, see, look,
See?
there's a fish there. So it's, I think that the shallow rivers with moving current is
Mm-hmm.
almost easier shore fishing than anything else that you can do, because you can
Okay.
pick it apart so much easier because the current.
As far as the like visual, like where things are on in a river
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
moving and
right.
like okay.
Yeah, with a lot of bodies of water, you have to have a depth finder to really dissect what
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing from shore. But with
Sure.
current, you can walk out and you can just be like, there's a rock there and there's a rock there. You can just kind of see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the food sources and where there might be a fish waiting for something to fall.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a low-hanging tree, there's a good
Right.
chance that there's a smallmouth waiting for something to fall out of that tree.
Just hanging out underneath it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just waiting.
Yeah.
I have grasshopper topwater poppers, so it looks like a bug. And I
Yeah, they're
mean,
tiny, right?
yeah, you
Yeah.
don't pop that shit at all a lot of times. You go, oh, there's a tree there. I know, like, this is probably working. Then you cast, and as soon as that grasshopper hits the water,
They just come up and bam.
instantly, dude,
Suck
no
it in. That's
hesitation,
so fucking sweet.
because they know the bugs. They know that they got to move fast because that bug hit the water, but that bug can take off and fly if it can fly again.
Right. Right.
It might be stuck there for a second, but it can get, a lot of times it can get away.
Right. Right.
So they're waiting, and the moment it hits the water,
Just bam. To
Mhm.
take it.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah.
cool.
It
And
is.
it's funny that you say the Mississippi. Not funny, but it's just like it's such a perfect example that you say the Mississippi because it's just like when it comes to smallmouth, they're all over this eastern side
Yeah.
of the United States. So I got it from St. Lawrence, the Hudson Bay over there in the Great Lakes,
Okay.
the southern Canada area, over to the Dakotas in the west, down to Oklahoma, over to Alabama, and then just anything that connects to the Mississippi. Like, yeah,
I didn't know they had them in Alabama.
I didn't know that either.
That's surprising.
Yeah, because you always hear about the large. Everything
Yeah.
down there, you hear about the largemouth.
Well, you just don't hear about them going like real south. And
Right.
Alabama is pretty far down there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It makes
That's
me wonder
wild.
also what's in Louisiana with the Mississippi going through there.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I've
Yeah.
definitely never. That's like LSU and Alabama, like the real southern sounding like schools.
Mm-hmm.
At Roll Damn Tide. You know? That
Yeah.
one's like, I don't associate smallmouth with that at all.
Right.
That's
right.
like alligators and largemouth is
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for real. I know. And that's why I thought it was pretty cool, but then again, it's just like basically the Mississippi. If it's, they just ride the Mississippi,
Yeah.
but also then you're talking about clear cold waters, clear colder waters is where you find these things too, and you go, well, that far down south, how fucking cold could the water be?
Right.
So
But I guess if they have
specific.
like super deep reservoirs or something, that
Maybe,
I mean, when
maybe
you get
something
deep
coming
enough,
out of the Appalachian Mountains, just
yeah, I don't know. When you get deep enough, the water's cold regardless of how warm the air is,
Right. So when you say that the deep water and the cold and stuff, is that why fishing for smallmouth is more like walleye? Is that why you kind of made that connection?
Yeah, a lot of times they're like you fish them a lot like walleye. They're in deeper water and like rocky humps and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the largemouth are going to be up in the weeds.
A lot of times they're up in the weeds or in the shallows. There's largemouth that are small or largemouth that go deep as well.
Oh,
but
sure.
you just like the lures that you use and stuff.
Okay.
I catch walleye drop shot fishing with small, like really small baits, and you can catch largemouth with small baits too.
Sure.
But you rarely catch like a 5-pound largemouth when you're drop shot fishing. But the pros catch the smallmouth drop shot fishing big footballs all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just, and like the Ned rigs and stuff too. You know, like Ned rigs are like everything's kind of like downsized, like tiny. I caught a 5-pound smallmouth on Chaminade with a Ned rig coming from underneath a pontoon boat.
Damn.
So like they do come up shallow.
Sure.
You know, I see it's not a rarity, but it seemed
because just like any, I mean, I shouldn't say just like any fish, but they're still a bass. They do go into cover. I mean, like I found that out. It's just like, no, they like to hang out in cover too.
Or here's
but
a
it's
good
not
example.
Like the fucking hopping a frog across a lily pad kind of cover shit.
Right. Yeah. And they seem to be more eager to bite than like walleyes are still.
Sure.
But here's a good example of just like so I've talked about it before in a different episode, but I can't remember exactly which one, but the Lake Mille Lacs has the launch is what we always called it. I don't know if that's what they call it, but it's like a community boat. It's not a like a pontoon boat. It's just like a real big boat, real big deck.
Yeah. We've talked about these things on the podcast before, for sure. Yeah. It's like a deck with pontoons underneath it.
Well, no, this one's like just a ferry. It's like just a big ass boat.
Oh, it is.
But it has a big deck like a pontoon boat would, but like bigger than that even. It's like a ferry. You can get up and walk around. Like it's a big vessel.
Yeah.
And so you take that out and like they'll set you up like with multiple people. And there was like a very light breeze. And what we did was like went out there with like Lindy rigs. So it's like a weight with a line and a hook. And then they had like a live bait on it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just drag that on the bottom. And that's all like the boat was being pushed very slowly with the wind. And we just drug all those baits across. And we didn't have luck that day. They thought that they would be like on this like deeper water flat where it came up to
like a plateau.
Yeah, like underwater. A plateau. Exactly. Yep. And they would just like drift across that. And we didn't catch any walleyes, but one girl caught like what I'm sure was her personal best smallmouth.
Yeah.
It was a giant smallmouth.
big football. That Mille Lacs being a smallmouth destination, like you said in the fishing news.
Yeah, I mean it was like a 5.5 pound smallmouth. A fish that most people would just be like over the moon to catch.
Mm-hmm.
If they were out there trying to catch the smallmouths.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-huh.
But this was some girl that was just kind of like, what is it? You know? That kind of,
yeah. She's I thought we were out here for the walleyes. And
yeah. I don't even know if she would have known what a walleye was. That's just what this launch is. You can just
because
somebody just says
the tourist dollars. We're
Yeah.
going out on this. We're gonna go out and do this thing because it's what people do when you come up here.
Yep. And it's not that crazy. It's like some people are just like, do you want to go get a charter? And like, well, that's a lot of money. And this one's just like, I forget the exact amount, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to spend $40 to go for the afternoon? See if you can catch something?
Right.
Like, yeah, I got $40 for an afternoon on the water. Hell yeah.
Right.
You know? Yep. So, yeah. But the point that I was making was we went out there dragging Lindy rigs, which is what you do for walleye, and they caught a smallmouth. So
there you go.
Which is also another way you can catch a largemouth. Obviously, there's that, but like
but to connect it to like the fact that you also said that like or that we've said it also is like it's just a fact is the Lake Mille Lacs is a smallmouth.
Yeah,
like a class act, world class. There we go, a world class smallmouth fishery just is
right.
So
yep, and you can. I guess another good way to put it is like you'll downsize to fish for smallmouth just on any given day where you'll downsize for largemouth like after a front or it's really pressured fish. Like you'll use smaller baits just to catch smallmouth, regardless of what situation you're dealing with. And largemouth, a lot of times you'll go smaller when you're having a hard time catching them on bigger baits, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're never going to cast a giant glide bait for a smallmouth, which is something you do for largemouth, you know?
Sure.
So it's, and that's the same with walleye. Like I've never heard, I'm sure it's happened, but I've never heard of anybody catching a walleye with a glide bait.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, it's just one of those things, like it just doesn't really, like you said, it probably could happen or does happen. Someone's got a story.
Right.
But you're like, I've never heard it.
Right. Yeah. Nope. Not personally. I've heard some things, but I don't know.
Heard some things. I've seen some things.
I've heard some things. I've seen some stuff. There's people that say things, but then some of that's too on the internet where you're just like, that what? I want to see the footage from beginning to end. I don't believe
that's what people are going to put in the comments too of this video. Bullshit. Right. 20 casts in a row.
No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I'll be 100% honest with you. Some of them were like 7-8 inch fish. They weren't monsters.
Oh yeah.
I was catching a lot of good ones, and I was also catching small ones. But it was every cast.
Sure.
I don't give a shit. Say you don't believe me. Come over here. I'll show you the spot.
One thing I thought was really cool was I'm gonna just parlay this in. So hold on 1 second. They've been introduced to England, Europe, Japan, Russia, and Africa. I was like, damn. Yeah. So
that's people that's
love their smallmouth.
Are there any cold spots in Africa?
I know. Right. No, seriously. Are there? Somebody tell us.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see that. I was like, damn, that's introduced, which means that, basically fish from the Midwest, upper, northern part of North America, probably they grabbed, they loved them so much. They were just like, bring them over. It's like, holy shit. Yeah. That's crazy to think about. But do you think that it has something to do with pound for pound? I saw this everywhere I read. Pound for pound. This is a fighter. This is a fight. Yeah. This is a fun ass fish to catch. And hearing also everything you're saying about them being in the current and stuff like that, it's like they seem like they just hang out in moving water. So they're muscly, fierce-eating little bastards. No surprise, I guess, that they're super good fighters.
Yeah. You can catch them on lakes and stuff too, but they fight like hell, dude. It's in the ones in the current. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you can catch a 1 pound 1 pound bass. Go catch it. Go catch that 1 pound smallmouth in the current, and tell me that didn't fight like a 3 pounder, like a largemouth in the lake. Yeah, that pull drag and shit.
A 1 pounder, huh?
Feels good. Yeah, like a 1 pounder will fight good. Damn, a 2 pounder will feel like you really got something. When you get it up, you're like, that's a good fish. I thought you were a lot bigger than you were, but that's a good fish. I like the way you look. Yeah. But a 3 pounder, dude, the one problem I will say when you're using those aglias, if you're using the smaller bait, you get a lot of bites, but the big ones will shake it a lot of times. The big ones will shake that little hook because they'll fight you like hell, and then they'll jump. They get airborne. They know how to work that current. They get up, dude.
That's fucking cool, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Because even if you don't catch it, like sometimes you just see them sky and you go, right there, you lose the fish, but you go, damn, dude, look at you got up. That was a good fish. That sucks. Awesome. I missed him, but yeah.
Right. As we always do, let's get into some spawning. Yeah. Ooh, the sexy times.
Yeah. Spawning. Ooh.
But no, I'm going to ask you a question immediately following this. Pretty much is, okay, so as the water usually approaches about 60 degrees late spring, early summer up in this area, um, in about 5 to 20 feet of water, rocky beds. So there we go. We're talking about that rocky area.
Yep.
And they're aggressive to defend their beds. It's like, this is very common. Can we even fish smallmouth during that time? Is it like uncool to take them during spawning? Like what's that? Do you know anything about that? Have you found it?
I don't know anything about smallmouth spawning because it normally happens before we can fish for them.
Okay, so yeah, it's one of these fish where the DNRs kind of put that stop on them during spawn season, probably.
Yeah, because it's it starts, like the walleye will spawn early too, when it's cool.
Yeah,
but
and that's why there's that break in the season.
Yeah,
like it's very clear. I've never read anywhere that like, oh, we stop during spawning season. But if you learn about walleye, you just go, spawn.
Yeah, so the bass opener, you can target bass on the regular fishing opener in certain areas, but you can't keep bass for another 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're like, you can catch them, but I'm normally not fishing the river that early because I don't know. To be 100% honest, that's one of my weak points. In a lake, maybe they're like Chaminade, where I fish. The one fish I did catch like way before the season on accident because it was at the it was in the water, like by the dock. I just randomly went out and I looked with the Aquaview camera because my dad has a older camera, and I was just like looking, just seeing,
just out there playing around with the camera. Basically,
I'm like, right? Is there anything up here? Like the water's super cold. It's like the weekend after we put in the dock, and we have crappie minnows because we're gonna go fish for crappie. And I honestly, because I had never even seen a smallmouth on that lake before this one, I looked at that and I go, oh, damn, there's a big ass rock bass underneath this. Because I knew it wasn't a regular bass. I could tell it was different, but it didn't even cross my mind that it was a smallmouth.
Yeah. Because I remember that you telling that the part of the story is they're not even listed as a species that exists in that lake.
I took that picture and I emailed DNR.
Right. Yeah.
Because I was like, there's not even supposed to be on this lake. What happened here? There's no natural inlets. There's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've been fishing this lake since I was a kid. How did I just catch this 5-pound smallmouth? Not just a smallmouth, a big ass smallmouth.
Right.
And they said that they think it was probably due to like the helping hand of another angler.
Someone dropped it in there.
I have a theory that it's the Lund boat people because they do videos and take pictures and stuff on that lake because half of that lake is owned by the church camp. So there's all this different, all this land that doesn't have any cabins in the background that you can take photos with. And the water's nice and clear. So it makes the pictures look good. Because if you're driving your boat in chocolate milk, it almost distracts you from the boat. You're just like, damn, dude, look at that water. That's crazy how dingy that shit is. But I think they were trying to take a photo and somebody like the bass flopped and got away from them.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know for sure. Or they didn't look into it being like there's no smallmouth on this lake. And they came up here to take a couple of photos and stuff. And then once they got their photos, they just released it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I caught that big ass smallmouth. So that smallmouth was up underneath the dock before any fish were up there. There was not a single other fish that had moved up yet.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
to the cold water.
Yeah. Stuff. So that one might have moved up like ready to spawn around the dock.
Right. Sure.
Because that early there's like no weeds and stuff. It's just sand. It's very like just gravelly ground. None of the weeds have grown up at that time of the year.
Right. Which is exactly what they want.
Yeah. And I think it's probably just like, oh, we're going to spawn with whatever. But he or she is the only smallmouth in the lake, I think.
Right. Yeah.
So
just maybe she was looking around for bed. She's like, hey, this is where the dudes should be.
Yeah.
Where the fuck they at?
Right. Yeah. I'm just thinking, it'd be nice.
If there was somewhere to put these eggs, that'd be cool.
Right. Yep. I'm just underneath this dock, if there's some suitor that's looking to have a couple babies or whatever, I don't know why I get that accent, but anyways,
it's our go-to, dude.
It's just fun.
It's such a good accent. I don't know why, but we both do it. I love it. I think Carl has a lot to do with it. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Carl has a lot to do with it.
I think so too.
This is the weirdest shit.
Yeah. I got some, just in case there was any takers out there, I got some perfectly good eggs need fertilizing.
Right. And he says the weirdest shit. Oh, I'm gonna be fought in blood for a week.
I'm gonna be fought in blood for a week. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, dude? This guy just say anything that comes to his head.
Hey, fine man. You know what I ordered? I love I love the episode of when they have the guitar that has special powers when you talk about foreigner stuff. And they would just they have to say the titles of the stuff. They're just Shake has it. He's just like, 'cause you're cold as ice.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl not catching on at all. Just like, oh yeah, classic. And then he gets frozen. Oh no.
Oh, fuck yes. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you want to know something about these? Okay, so they're aggressive, so they're cannibals, but they will they will cannibalize, the little ones, like a lot of fish we're learning. So I want to throw that one out there as a fun fact of hey, look at this through line that I found that we can make. But this was so weird about the spawning. The process is the same as all fish. They make a bed. Females go around every bed, lay a bunch of eggs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Whole bunch of that, right? It said the courting can take hours. Well, what a waste of time. How about you just make more fish? Fucking A. The process of getting eggs in the bed can take hours. I was like, geez. I do not remember any other freshwater fish being like that.
They just go into legit labor. She just trying to push the eggs out.
And the guys over there just holding their fin. You can do it.
Yeah. And they're ready to do their part. Because for those of you that don't know, the ladies drop the eggs down and then the dudes come over and ejaculate on them. So they're probably just come on, girl, I'm ready. You better handle this quick. I'm about to bust.
I have a mouthful of water. I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, oh, fuck.
I'm about to fertilize those rocks. Yep.
Oh, shit. Okay. Two quick things to wrap up here. First thing is check out this motherfucker. 11 pounds, 15 ounces, literally 1 ounce shy of a 12-pound smallmouth up in Dale Hollow Lake, Tennessee.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, dude. Fucking A. 27 inches long and 21.75 inches in diameter.
Just, that's not even a football. That's
that is like a soccer ball.
Oh yeah, what's that, like a rugby ball? Aren't those
right.
bigger?
That's a rugby ball. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. That's so big. Like, just we've
Yeah.
said it a lot of times before. Like when you go down south, like they can just have fish that are bigger than ours.
Yep.
The smallmouth and the largemouth state record are very close to each other, and they're both in the 8-pound range in
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota.
Yeah, up here.
So
Yep.
again, that one just shy of 12 pounds is far bigger than any bass has ever been in our lakes.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's
think
the
about,
smallmouth,
dude.
which
Think
is
about that. That's
usually smaller than the largemouth bass too,
a
because they just
4-pound bass is a big ass fish. That's a 4-pound bass bigger than our biggest largemouth.
right.
That's
That would
gnarly,
eat
dude.
the other bass.
Yeah.
It probably could. Yeah, and it was
Oh,
1955
that's
that
wild.
record was set, and it still stands.
And
It's
some of
pretty
that
wild.
shit I call bullshit.
But no, they have a
Some of
photo of it.
No, I know, but some of the
Oh,
records and stuff, when you like look back on it, like some people are just like, we don't know for sure.
oh,
But no, I'm sure it was a big fish. I'm not saying that it wasn't. I just find it hard to believe that there was in the 50s they caught the record and then never after that. But I guess it could be that just like before fishing happened,
hmm
the fish would just get way bigger and
yeah.
then we
That's what
were
I always think.
introduced. Yeah, then we were introduced and then just fish don't have a chance to get that big anymore
Right.
because
Which takes
we're
me to the last point that I
out there
wanted to
fucking
make
stuff up.
is great table fare. That's a quote from one article that I read, and I
So
was like,
I
I don't know if
have
I trust you anymore. But
Here's the thing. I've heard this too, and actually I didn't know that at all.
mhm.
And it wasn't, I've heard that in cold water. Okay, two things. I'll say this. Chaminade has uh, a larger population of smallmouth now. I don't know how it happened, but every once in a while I'll catch them.
Okay,
One time I caught a smaller one, and it was earlier in the year, and somebody had told me that they are good eating when they're cold. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm
interesting.
going to try it. I'm going
Yeah,
to go for this because I
yeah.
don't want to eat any of them that I catch out of the Mississippi. Plus, I think
hmm
there's like rules that you're supposed to toss them back all right away. It doesn't really matter. I have no interest in catching anything out of the Mississippi, like eating
Eating.
anything out of the
Yep.
Mississippi.
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
So I tossed those ones back, but I caught the one in Chaminade where I eat all my other fish. It's a nice clear water, whatever. I cut that thing open and it had worms. So I've
Uh,
still never ate one because I'm like, nope, not eating that. And I'm not
right.
talking about those like little black parasites. I'm talking about like legit worms, and it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
that's disgusting.
Like it crawled. They crawled out of this fucking fish.
Yeah, I felt bad. Like I cut it open and I'm just
Oh
like,
fuck! I
oh, I
just got the
killed you for
shivers from that.
nothing. Yeah, I hate
Fucking
it.
gross.
It's so gross. The same thing with like rock bass. Rock bass on some lake are supposed to be fine. This one has worms. I don't know what the hell it is with these two species that are very close
And they both
looking.
have red
I don't,
eyes too. I don't know if that
they
has
got red
anything to do
eyes
with
and
it. If they're
worms.
just like
No, because they're supposed to be good eating, and that's uh, ironically enough, bringing up our buddy Sam at the beginning. Um, his dad had rented a cabin near where I live,
mm-hmm,
and I went out there, and it was a hot day. So
mm-hmm,
I don't know if it would have been good because they were talking about how like when it's cold water they're good eating,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
I caught like a 5-pound bass off the dock,
Smallmouth or
and yeah,
largemouth?
smallmouth,
Okay,
5-pound smallmouth,
nice.
and I caught it, and I'm like, hell yeah! Showed Sam, we took a picture or whatever, and I tossed it in the water, and he's like, what? No. And they're like, what? And he's like, dude, my dad's probably gonna be pissed. You probably saw it. And you just tossed it back, and I'm like, it was a bass. And he's like, yeah, they like those. Like we eat them when it's cold.
Huh?
And they were like, that's when I learned that they're supposed to be good eating when the water's cold, I guess. That was
Huh?
the first time I ever heard anybody talk about eating them. But
Okay,
yeah. And it was a lake. It maybe would have been fine. But I tossed that
interesting.
thing back right away. It was
Yeah,
also big. Like if I would have caught a small one,
right. Yeah.
you're gonna eat my big ass bass. Like they're like that would
But
have been some
also out
nice
of habit
fillets. Yeah.
too. Like that's why you did it. I mean, it was just like it was your habit to.
I didn't even think twice, dude.
Right.
Held
Right.
it up, took a couple of pictures, got it back in the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shit.
And that guy, we were casting a bunch of different lures out too. This is just random.
Mm-hmm.
We were casting a bunch of different lures and nothing was biting. And I go, you know what? Let's see if we could just piss something off. Because they seem to like be like temperamental and angry almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if they make them anymore, but I had like the clacking minnow and it's like a jerk bait. But for a little while, Rapala had this jerk bait that had this like brass drum in the middle with like one BB in the middle. And it was real loud, just like a very loud clacking.
Okay.
And nothing else that I was casting in this same spot from the dock was getting any attention. And I popped that thing a couple of times and that thing came out and just smashed it, dude. It's like that loud clack just pissed it off. It was just like, I've been trying to ignore every other lure you threw out here. This is the final straw. Just ate that shit. And yeah, so that was one of the only fish I caught on that lure because this one, I think I got it from my parents for like Christmas or something. But it's a very bright colored lure with a very loud clack.
Okay.
And I don't know if they've like saw it on TV or whatever, but like kind of the opposite of what you want to use in clear water, you know? So weird. I just never used it.
Right.
And then we were on that little bit cloudier water and I was just like, yeah, fuck it, let's try it. And sure enough, big ass smallmouth.
Big smallmouth came out and hammered it.
Yep. Yep. Huh. So there's another smallmouth story.
That's crazy, dude. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, that's it then. Let's jump into the random take. Let's wrap up the fishing topic here. And we're going to jump into a random take. Would you rather the game of would you rather or would you rather? Hit the break.
Micropetus delimium.